I bought a used GPU from a nice lady on Facebook, and I did something stupid, and now I feel stupid. Hey, it's me, your buddy TechDweeb. How you doing this fine day? Thanks for clicking on the video. So yeah, I feel like an idiot right now. I goofed up. It's kind of a funny story. I'll tell you that in a minute. The topic of this video is this used GPU that I bought. It's a GTX 960 4GB model. I reviewed an old GTX 960 on the channel before. It was the 2GB model, and it did pretty good. Lots of games ran fine, but a few didn't. And in that video I mentioned that I suspected it was the 2GB of VRAM holding us back in those problematic titles. I mean, it's 2022. 2GB of VRAM really isn't enough for modern games. So I'm curious to see what this 4GB version could do. I mean, it's an older GPU. It came out in 2015, but it's a 60 class GPU, and I'm expecting some much improved performance over the 2GB model, just because of those extra 2GB of VRAM. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to test it out in modern games and see if a 4GB GTX 960 is still a viable choice for gaming in 2022. But first, let me tell you the embarrassing story of how I got this GPU. I was browsing Facebook Marketplace looking for used PC parts, and on this day I found a listing for a GTX 960 4GB model. It looked like it was in perfect condition from the photos, and the lady was selling it for $40. That's a really good deal. A crazy good deal. I was sort of expecting something to be wrong with it, to be honest. Like maybe it was broken or it had been quickly repaired to sell off or something. I don't know. Just a good condition GTX 960 4GB model for $40 seemed too good to be true, especially for an Asus Strix model. So I was excited, but skeptical. Anyways, my mom was in town at the time doing some shopping, as moms tend to do, so I asked her if she'd mind picking it up for me. She said no problem. What a great mom, am I right? I love you, Mom. So then I asked the seller on Facebook if it was still available, and if she'd hold it for me if I sent her the money. She said yes, so I sent her the money, and she sent her address in the chat. Rather than going back and forth between the lady and my mom, I just added my mom to the chat so that they could coordinate the pickup. I could see their conversation in the group chat as Mom went to her place to go get it, and then later in the day, Mom sent me a message. She said, "Is this a video game or something? It looks brand new." I said, "No, it's a graphics card. A really good deal." And Mom said, "Oh, for the computer? How much was it?" And I said, "Yeah, it was only $40. Kinda crazy to get this for $40. I'm almost expecting something to be wrong with it, like it's a scam, LOL. And Mom said, "I doubt that. She seemed nice. She had a nice house. About my age, maybe a bit older. She had nice hair." And I said, "Okay, that's good that it's not from a crack house or something." We said some other stuff. We were just chatting like a goofy mom and son. And then a bit later, I wanted to message my mom to ask her if she could get some root beer on the grocery store. And the chat about the GPU wasn't there in my messages with my mom. And then I realized that our chat about the GPU and the lady, no, it wasn't our private chat. We were chatting in the group chat, and the lady could see everything we were saying. Oh my god, you guys, I was so embarrassed. Like, this nice lady was selling a GPU at a great price, and here I was talking about how I hope it's not a scam and it's good it wasn't from a crack house. I feel like a freaking idiot. I mean, I am an idiot. I don't think that's news to anyone. But this reminder of what an idiot I am was a bit of a slap in the face by myself. I slapped myself in the face, I guess. Well, that's the story. Feel free to laugh at my ineptitude. Oh, and the GPU looked brand spanking new, by the way. It's literally perfect condition. I doubt the lady used it very much. Maybe it was her kids or something. Who knows. So, let's get this thing in my PC and see what it can do, shall we? Starting off, as always, with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's my favorite game to benchmark for lots of reasons. It's a great looking game, so it's nice to start off with a bang. It's super well optimized. It runs great considering how nice it looks, but it's also demanding because it looks so nice. And it has lots of graphical options that are applied right away in-game, so no need to restart. Anyways, we're running at 1080p with the high preset, and we got an average of 31 FPS. And that's pretty good. That's a very console-like experience. And the 1% lows are decent, so it felt consistent. That's actually a bit better than I expected, to be honest. I was thinking we'd have to go down to medium or low settings at first. This is good. So if you want to get some higher FPS, you could go down to the medium preset or use some resolution scaling to bump up the performance. Or if you're fine with 30 FPS, then you'll be good to go right away. On these third-person exploration games that I play with a controller, I usually prefer to trade high frame rates to get some nicer looking graphics. So this is how I'd play this game on this GPU. Here we are in Red Dead Online. That's right, I'm playing Red Dead Online now. And I'm loving the heck out of it, thank you very much. I've been playing this with my old buddy from college, and it's been a rootin' tootin' good time in the Old West. I'm currently working on saving up enough gold so I can become a bounty hunter. Fun stuff. As for how it's doing on our 4GB GTX 960, well, not bad actually. Running at 1080p, 100% resolution scale, with Digital Foundry's Xbox One equivalent settings, which are very well optimized to look good and offer great performance, we're getting 28 FPS average. I mean, it's not ideal to have a sub 30 FPS experience, but it's workable, you know? This game ran at 30 FPS on the Xbox One, and that sold like 44 million copies, so obviously a lot of gamers are a-okay with 30 FPS. However, we are PC gamers, and we won't settle for out-of-the-box performance, will we? We might be able to get a little bit more out of it. Let's do a quick comparison. I'm gonna run up onto this rock here and stare off into the forest. 27 FPS right here. Okay, so that's our baseline. Now let's go into the graphics settings and enable DLSS. Wait, what? DLSS on a GTX 960? How is this possible, you might ask? Well, if you saw my recent video where I modded FSR 2.0 into Cyberpunk, the way it works is you inject FSR 2.0 into the game, which hijacks the DLSS temporal data. It allows you to use FSR as DLSS. And FSR 2.0 has no hardware requirements, so we can enable it on any GPU. How cool is this? So on our little hill seed here, we go from 27 FPS up to 36 FPS. That's a 33% boost in performance using the balanced setting in FSR. And if we use the performance setting, we go up to 39 FPS. And look at the quality difference. Yeah, you can tell that FSR is enabled, but only if you look really closely. When you're just playing the game, honestly, you don't notice it at all. It feels like you're playing at a native 1080p. So with Performance FSR 2.0 enabled, we go from 28 FPS average up to 42 FPS. That's a 50% boost in performance. And the game feels so good like this, you guys. I'm excited to see the future of this. Being able to use FSR 2.0 in previously DLSS only games, it's pretty great. Yes, it is. And while we're on the topic of the FSR 2.0 mod, I might as well show you the performance in Cyberpunk. Here we are, running at 1080p with the low preset. I needed to go down to low, unfortunately. The FPS wasn't good enough for a first-person shooter game at medium settings. And we're using the FSR 2.0 mod in performance mode. And we get 38 FPS. In this area, in this Cherry Blossom Market area. This is the area I always use for my benchmarks because it's super demanding. It's like a worst case scenario. When you're like driving around the city or in less populated areas with less graphical density, you'll get much higher FPS. After a little drive around, I got 47 FPS on average, which isn't bad, you know? I don't mind this game at low settings. It's a beautiful game. It looks amazing at high settings, but even at low settings, they're pretty darn nice looking, in my opinion. I wanted to show you Deathloop because it has a built-in FSR 2.0. No modding required. It's actually a pretty demanding game. I think it has pretty high VRAM requirements, actually. So let's see how our 4GB GTX 960 did. I was using 1080p with the medium preset, but I had to lower the textures to low because of the VRAM. And even then, I still got a low VRAM warning. And I went with Performance FSR 2.0. I ended up with 34 FPS average by the end of this run. Yeah, I could have lowered the settings to ultra low or went with Ultra Performance FSR. And you could do that if you wanted to get more performance out of it. But I wanted to see what the game felt like with these settings. And it felt okay. Not amazing, but I played for like 10 minutes. And by the end, I was actually used to it. Which was surprising because I was playing with a mouse and keyboard. But this game is right on the edge of playable. I think as new games come out with higher VRAM requirements, this GTX 960 won't be able to keep up. For now, on the newest games, it's just on the edge of playable. It's great for older games, great for less demanding games, but on brand new, very demanding games, you'll need to be running on low settings and even then you might need to run at a sub 1080p resolution. I'm happy to say that in my tests today I didn't need to go below 1080p though, which is a good sign. Here's a brand new game that actually runs pretty good on a wide variety of hardware as far as I could tell. Heck, I got this one running on the Athlon 3000G APU without a graphics card, and it was playable there. The game has a 60 FPS cap, so you can't go above 60 anyways. Here we are running at 1080p with the medium preset, but I bumped up the shadows and the anti-aliasing because when those settings aren't at high or ultra, oh man, the game's visuals really suffer. And they don't impact performance too much. At these settings I got 36 FPS average, and it felt just fine. This is a sort of console type game, you know, one you'll play with a controller, and it feels fine at 30 to 40 FPS. And you know what? As I was playing, I forgot that I was recording a benchmark. I was just playing the game and having a good time. That's a good sign. When you're testing an old GPU, if you can lose yourself in the game and forget that you're not running on the best, latest and greatest hardware, and forget about the limitations and just have fun playing the games, that's it. That's the acid test. That's how you know a GPU is good enough. If the graphics settings and performance metrics can get out of the way so you can just have a good time playing games, that's all you need. You guys must be getting bored of all these benchmarks, so let's take a cat break. Cat break! Whee! Whoa ho! Oh wow! I love you, Hermione. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do. I hope you never die. Oh, that was something. Here's Fortnite running out with the medium preset, but epic view distance, and I got 63 FPS average by the end of this match. I know Fortnite is the kind of game that lots of people say you should shoot for crazy high FPS, especially on these older GPUs. If you're competitive, you'll want to play on performance mode at the lowest settings. But for plebs like me, I feel like if I'm running at 60 plus FPS, that I'm good. And I like the way this game looks. I think it looks pretty good at the medium settings, and pretty darn gross at the lowest settings without any shadows or anything. I was playing this on a 60Hz monitor, so going above that wasn't going to help me. Obviously, if you're competitive, you'll want to run with those super low settings and to max out the FPS. I'm not an esports gamer, so medium settings was good for me here, averaging 63 FPS, and I didn't do too bad, all things considered. And of course, we need to try out GTA 5, our game benchmark standard candle. The most well-optimized game known to man. It runs well on almost anything. And it's the one game that everyone seems to benchmark, so it's a good to be able to compare GPU performance. It's also still a great game. Great fun. And it's one of the top Steam games still because GTA Online is so popular. Here we were able to run with high settings across the board, and I got 81 FPS average by the end of my rampage here.
Lay around, you heard? Family doesn't. What the fuck is that? My only job. Damn.
Trevor Phillips, remember that.
And here's Horizon Zero Dawn, running with the Favor Performance preset at native 1080p. Even though this game does have FSR 1.0, I didn't bother using it because it looks so good and it was running totally fine. I got 38 FPS average. This is another game that I forgot I was supposed to be running a benchmark. I just played the game and it was having a good time. Playing with the controller, it felt absolutely perfect. And it looks amazing, doesn't it? I mean, if this is low settings, we really are spoiled these days. Even the lowest settings in games look freaking amazing. Am I the only one that's blown away at how good games look and how much performance we get? I paid $50 for this GPU. And this is the kind of games I get to play? It really puts things in perspective. Anyone complaining about the price of GPUs is missing the big picture. Gamers just want a game, and they can on old GPUs, on cheap GPUs, new or used, it doesn't matter. The only thing stopping us from enjoying games like this on hardware like this is the allure that there might be something better. But you know what? When you're playing the games and having fun, you aren't sitting there nitpicking the textures or how detailed the shadows are. You're just playing the game and having a good time. And you don't need to spend thousands of dollars to do that. If you're looking to get into PC gaming, get yourself an old used GTX 960 or something like that and ignore all the noise out there. In Far Cry 5, I went with the high preset and I got an average of 46 FPS. It felt great like this, but obviously you could lower those settings or make use of the in-game resolution scale to squeeze out some better performance from this GTX 960. I think this game is a testament to how well this GPU has held up over the years, that it was relevant. It's running great. I mean, the GTX 1060 came out after this GPU, it stole some of its thunder. That GPU had longevity like you wouldn't believe. It's still the most popular GPU on Steam, even to this day, if you can believe that. But this GTX 960 really isn't far off. Oh, watch this shot. Are you ready?
I'm gonna flank him.
Oh my god, are you freaking kidding me? How did I miss that? Oh, I hate this game right now.
Oh no, no, please. Yikes, fuck.
Here's CSGO, running at 1080p with the lowest settings. I couldn't use the MSI Afterburner overlay because this game won't let you, so I figured I'd enable the Microsoft Game Bar overlay, but my stupid screen recorder didn't record the overlay. So I don't have any specific numbers for you on this one. Sorry. I do remember the kind of FPS I was getting. It was the high 300s. I'm gonna say 375-ish FPS. Sorry if that's not helpful. I obviously suck at my job. Feel free to tell me how much I suck in the comments below so I can apologize to you personally. What do we have here? Oh, Forza Horizon 5. That's a new game, came out this year, and it's very well optimized. It runs great on a wide variety of hardware, and it looks great too. I was able to run with the medium preset, and I got an average of 53 FPS. Ignore the 1% lows in the overlay there. I don't know what the heck was going on with that. The game definitely didn't have a single stutter as far as I could tell. Yeah, I don't get this game. I know it's not supposed to be super realistic or like a simulation or whatever, but there's like no consequences for anything. Like, look at this wall. I came up too quick and I thought I'd be in for a crash or something, but nope, I just smashed right through it. And the trees too. There's hardly anything in this game that you can't freaking smash right through. I guess that helps with the open world feeling of things, to be able to just drive through stuff, but I don't know, man. It feels super duper unrealistic to me. To be in this immortal car that can just plow through walls and trees like the Incredible Hulk. I'm going to end off with a game that came out the same year that this GPU was released, The Witcher 3. They actually came out like 2 months apart. Back when this game was coming out, I had an older GTX 660, and I was dreaming of getting a 900 series GPU to play The Witcher 3 when it came out. I bet there were lots of gamers that picked up this very GPU just to play this game. So what kind of experience would they get? Well, I was running with the medium settings, and the game looked very good at these settings, if I do say so myself, and I got 50 FPS average. I got some dips when the action heated up. My particular character build uses cluster bombs, so whenever I drop a bomb, it's actually dropping like 7 bombs at once. And the frame rate does dip, but like, this is great performance. I don't know what the GTX 960 cost back then. I probably should have looked it up before I started recording this, but whatever. I doubt it was really expensive. Someone picking up this GPU to play The Witcher 3 was having a great experience, and they had a GPU that they could use to game right up into 2022 and beyond. That's pretty cool.
sword like that?
Ice encased his armor,
Aye?
like winter on a
Can
glass
you do that?
His eyes red.
And that's the best part of this GPU. I got it cheap. You could probably find one pretty cheap if you look around, but it really has stood the test of time. I'm actually surprised at the performance difference we got with the 4GB model compared to the 2GB model that I checked in my other video. This wasn't a comparison video or anything, but according to my napkin math, we got about a 15% performance boost compared to the 2GB version. That's not crazy or anything, but I think it's going to become more relevant as time goes on. Having at least 4GB of VRAM is basically a deal breaker for brand new modern games in 2022. 2GB just doesn't cut it anymore. And this 960 shows that even older GPUs are still going strong if they have at least 4GB of VRAM. And as long as you understand that you'll be likely sticking to 1080p with a low to medium settings, you'll have a great gaming experience on GPUs like the GTX 960. I'm gonna give this a big thumbs up, even for modern games. It lets you game at a great price, especially if you find a crazy deal like I did, even if I did have to embarrass myself to get it. And that brings us to the end. Please let me know in the comments below. Have you ever had a GTX 960? Do you still have one? What do you think about the whole 2GB versus 4GB thing? Is 4GB even enough? And more importantly, have you ever embarrassed yourself by typing in the wrong group chat? Come on, tell me your embarrassing stories and make me feel better about myself in the comments below. And while you're down there, do the things. Thumbs up if you liked the video, or the thumbs down if you didn't. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.